Welcome back, everybody. I'm Phil. That's Sam.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back.
Today, we're coming to 15 German brands you pronounce you, all capitals, you, down there that's watching the video, over there, in front of me, whatever. You know what I mean. You pronounce it wrong. And not us. We don't pronounce the brands wrong, of course.
Well, we're about to find out if we pronounce them wrong.
I'm guessing that we do. And we're coming back to a German video here. We've learned a little bit about German culture on the channel thus far.
It's been a cool journey so far.
We did a different video from Feli, and she gave us some insights on German words that are used in the English language that you might not have recognized initially. And there were definitely some surprises in that video. So
yep, for sure.
If you want to go watch that, it's on our channel. And then what are some other videos that we did, Sam?
We had done the 25 places that you need to visit in Germany. And then you guys suggested another one from that. So that was more of kind of like a sightseeing video. So it's been really cool to learn more about the culture, see the landscape, and get a better idea for what life is like there.
Yeah, we also did a big F1 video, a couple F1 videos from Michael Schumacher as well. One of the best F1 drivers, if not the best F1 driver of all time. So we're getting into some German content.
We did one about the Autobahn too, right?
We did, but apparently that wasn't reflective of Germany or the Autobahn, and it wasn't a good video. But you can go and watch that one and judge for yourself. But anyways, we come into the German brands you pronounce wrong here. I'm interested to see what this is going to be about. I think there's going to be some car brands in here, maybe some shoe brands in here that I'm aware of.
Beer.
Pardon?
Maybe some beer.
Yeah, that as well. I think there's going to be some brands in here that a lot of people don't recognize are even German to begin with. But they go back a long, long time. I think actually one of the ones, let's not even start this conversation.
Let's just find out.
Let's just find out what German brands we pronounce wrong are from this video here.
Hey, have you seen my Adidas shoes? Your what shoes? Adidas, the brand? Oh, Adidas. Not sure. Maybe you've left them in the car? Oh, in your friend's Volkswagen?
There you go.
Volkswagen, the car brand? It's a German car
Volkswagen.
brand. You should know that. Oh, VW. Okay. And with that, let's jump into our German brand names. First, of course, we have to talk about car brands because German cars are being sold all over the world. They're famous all over the world, and a lot of people talk about them or even own a German car.
There's a lot of them.
The first one is Audi. Most Americans that I know pronounce it like I just said it, Audi. In German, we say Audi. Audi. And there's actually a funny story as to where this name came from. In 1904, a guy called August Horch founded a car company called A. Horch und Company, Motorenwarenwerke Zwickau, but a few years later, he left the company and founded a new one. But he wasn't allowed to call it Horch again, and since that's not only his last name, but also means listen in the imperative form, he ended up translating it into Latin, and that's Audi. So Audi means listen. The company is located in Ingolstadt in Bavaria. Then, of course, one of the most famous car brands in the world is this one. It's located in Stuttgart, Germany. I've heard Americans pronounce it Porsche or Porsche. In German, we say Porsche. So there's like this short E sound in the end. Porsche. It was founded by Ferdinand Porsche in 1931 as a company for vehicle development work and consulting. And one of the first assignments that the company had was from the Nazi government at the time to design a car for the general public, which was what later would become Volkswagen. And so they designed the Volkswagen Beetle, the VW Käfer.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
This one sounded super funny to me when I first heard how people pronounce it in English. I actually used to drive one back in Germany. So most Americans call this Mercedes.
Yes.
In German, we pronounce it Mercedes. So Mercedes versus Mercedes. Mercedes. So it's really pretty different. And the full name, of course, is Mercedes-Benz. I've also heard that in England, people also refer to Mercedes as Merc. A German will not know what you're talking about if you say that, just for your information. Originally, it was just the company Daimler Motorengesellschaft, founded in 1890. The name Mercedes was added later, inspired by a Daimler car dealer called Emil Jelinek, who was also driving car races under the alias Monsieur Mercedes, which was based on his daughter's first name name Mercedes Jelinek.
Wow.
The name was later also used for one of the car models in the year 1900 and then eventually became the name of the brand itself.
Crazy.
So
It's interesting to see how some of that evolved.
Yeah, there's a lot of history there. Pretty cool to know too that this huge car brand was named after somebody's daughter.
I know. However, the first two, I've actually, not that the first thing comes to my mind, but I have heard people pronounce them that way, like Audi opposed to Audi and Porsche instead of Porsche. But the, I'm not even going to try to say, however she said Mercedes. I've never heard it that way before.
Mercedes?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't actually even realize that Porsche was German.
I didn't even know that either. I thought it was Italian for some reason.
Yeah,
I thought Porsche, like what the Porsche was Italian.
Yeah, so that was interesting to me. That's the first one that I didn't recognize. I had the correction of Audi very early on because I remember talking to somebody, and it was one of the first cars, not the first car, because obviously I'm not buying an Audi on my first car, but I was looking at cars that I wanted to buy, and I had said it, and somebody's like, no, you don't say it that way. It's like, what do you mean? It says it's an Audi. Like,
when you said Audi.
I'm saying it right. Audi, yeah. And they're like, no, you don't say it that way.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you talking about? But I've never heard the Mercedes pronunciation
me
like
either.
that. And I had a Mercedes, so.
Yeah. It's funny that you and her both did.
Eventually became the name of the brand itself. This one simply has 3 letters, but of course they're pronounced differently in English and in German. In English, people say BMW. In German, we say BMW because W is pronounced W in German, and it stands for Bayerische Motorenwerke, which means Bavarian Engine Works. And of course, BMW is located in my hometown, Munich, which is the capital of Bavaria. The company was founded in 1916 and originally mainly produced aircraft engines. It's said that the logo represents a plane propeller, and it also has the colors of Bavaria, blue and white, to show the company's origin. Then after World War I, they survived by producing motorcycle engines, farm equipment, household items, and railway brakes, and built their first motorcycle in 1923, and then became a car manufacturer a few years later. They then went back to concentrating on aircraft engines again during World War II, using forced labor from prisoners in concentration camps, and didn't get back into car manufacturing until 1952. Overall, all of these German car brands that I just mentioned are more or less considered luxury brands in the US. I mean, Porsche, of course, is considered a luxury brand in Germany as well, but Audi, Mercedes, and BMW are pretty much just regular car brands to us. Obviously, they do have expensive luxury cars as well, but the regular models are driven by people from all social classes in Germany.
So I did not know that BMW or BMW was initially a company that focused on air production.
I did not know that either.
I had no idea. I thought they were always on vehicles.
Yeah, like motorcycles and cars. Yeah,
I
same.
had no idea.
From all social classes in Germany. English speakers call this Volkswagen, while in Germany we usually just call it VW, VW, VW. But even if we did go by the full name, it would be pronounced Volkswagen and not Volkswagen. So just imagine that it was spelled with an F and V instead.
Volkswagen.
Volkswagen. This literally means people's car or car of the people, and it was founded during the Third Reich in the late 1930s because Hitler wanted to have a car that was affordable for middle-class Germans and that met the needs of an average family. So this was his attempt to make cars something that wasn't only available to upper-class people, but to the general public. And the company is based in Wolfsburg. Now let's move on to something other than cars. So this is one of the brands where, when I heard Americans say this for the first time, I didn't understand at all what they were referring to because they usually pronounce it Adidas, and in Germany we say Adidas. Adidas, Adidas. Super different. It's the second largest sportswear manufacturer in the world after Nike, and I don't think that a lot of people know that this is a German company. It also has an interesting backstory. It was founded by Adolf Dassler, whose nickname was Adi, so the brand name is based on his first and last name, Adidas. He founded the company at his mother's house after he returned from World War I, and he actually played a big role in developing spiked running shoes. In 1924, his brother Rudolf joined the company and they founded the Dassler Brothers Shoe Factory, but they later got into a fight, split up, and his brother actually founded his own company called Puma, which became the biggest rival of Adidas. So both Adidas and Puma are German brands. Another shoe manufacturer that many Germans would probably consider very, very German, like if you talk about something typically German, Birkenstock is definitely going to be mentioned. But of course, this brand is known all over the world nowadays, and it's natural that people pronounce it with their native accent. So English speakers usually say Birkenstock. In German, we say Birkenstock. Birkenstock, Birkenstock, which literally translates to birch stick. The roots of the company go all the way back to the 18th century, by the way.
Wow. That's crazy. I did not know that was that old.
Yeah, I mean, so many of these companies are, so much history to them. It's really interesting when she was talking about Adidas, not Adidas, that the companies themselves will still market it towards the North American audience with that pronunciation.
Because they're capitalizing on what's familiar with their audience.
Well,
right?
yeah, but I mean, like, you watch a commercial and like it's a celebrity that's advertising for Adidas, and that's what they say is Adidas.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? And I mean, it makes sense because, it's a part of the way we enunciate words.
Well, you just had your natural accent, right?
But it's just interesting to me that like we're watching this video basically explaining to us that we are pronouncing it wrong, right? But the company itself, which is based out of Germany, is not like, no, like you're not saying it right. I've never heard this correction before in my life, this is the first time. And it's just funny how, what comes first is where you are in the world, not the brand itself, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's also crazy to me that Brothers owned Adidas and Puma, two like huge sports and shoewear companies.
Well, it's just also crazy how much came out of Germany around that time period when the Nazis and World War II and stuff were going on, and how much influence even Hitler had on so many of these brands and stuff and their development. It just shows you the ingenuity that was happening in Germany at that time.
For sure.
But it's just crazy that there's so much historical roots from that time period. And like you said, how two massive companies, shoe companies,
Came from brothers,
produced at the same time.
big competitors.
Yeah, and they still exist today, both of them, right?
All the way back to the 18th century, by the way. From shoes to alcohol, this is pronounced Jägermeister in German, Jägermeister. English speakers usually say Jägermeister, which is pretty much the same, just with a pretty thick accent. And people also often use the abbreviation Jäger, like,
Jäger.
Can I have a shot of Jäger, please? It literally means hunt master. Jäger is the hunter, and Meister is master, and it's a German herbal liquor.
Herbal.
This is a German grocery store. You can
Never heard
also
of it
find
before.
them in other European countries, and they even have some stores in the US. I usually get the majority of my groceries at Aldi here in the US. In Germany, we call stores like Aldi or Lidl discounters because they sell groceries for very low prices. In English, people usually pronounce this Aldi. I think I've also heard Aldi before, but I think most people say Aldi. Or they also sometimes add an S that isn't there in the end and say Aldis. In Germany, we just say Aldi. It has its origins in 1945 when the two brothers Theo and Karl Albrecht took over their mother's corner store and came up with the concept of having a small selection while having low prices. The name Aldi comes from Albrecht Discount, so Albrecht, which is their last name, discount. In Germany, we have Aldi Süd and Aldi Nord, Aldi South and Aldi North. Again, this is because of two brothers splitting up into two different businesses. In the US, the store is simply called Aldi and it actually belongs to Aldi South, while the store Trader Joe's belongs to Aldi North. Now let's move on to cosmetics. Nivea is a German brand from Hamburg that's mainly known for its face lotion in the little blue container, but of course they offer a large variety of products nowadays. Again, I find the English pronunciation pretty funny here. English native speakers usually say
Nivea.
Nivea, Nivea. In German, we say Nivea. Nivea. So the emphasis is on the E. Nivea.
Did you know that one was German?
No, I didn't. And I had no clue that's how people say it. I always said Nivea or I've heard Nivea as well.
Yeah. My mom loves that brand.
It's like her favorite lotion.
I had no idea it was German though.
This is on the E. Nivea. This is a German hair cosmetics brand that you can find all over the world pretty much. In German, we pronounce it Schwarzkopf, which literally means black head. Schwarzkopf. English native speakers usually pronounce it Schwarzkopf or Schwarzkopf or something along those lines. Deutsche Bank is the largest bank in Germany. Deutsche Bank also literally means German bank. Of course, you can find Deutsche Bank not only in Germany, but in other countries as well. A good friend of mine here in Cincinnati actually just did an internship with them in their New York City location. And she's also going to start a full-time job with them soon. And Americans usually pronounce it Deutsche Bank or something along those lines. And my friend always uses the abbreviation Deutsch when she refers to it. So like she said, I got a job offer from Deutsch, which is just really funny to me because that literally just means German.
I got an op from
This is a German manufacturer of high-end domestic appliances, and it's not exactly pronounced wrong in English, but English native speakers usually say something like Miele, Mila. So it usually sounds more like an A in the end, whereas in German we say Miele. Miele. So the last letter is just a little bit different. And Miele really does stand for quality. If you invest in a Miele dishwasher or washing machine, you just know that it's going to be a good product and it's going to last. This is something that everyone knows and loves, hopefully. Maybe not everyone knew that Haribo is actually German. We pronounce it Haribo. Haribo. And again, the name originates in the name of the founder of the company, which was Hans Riegel, and he was from the city of Bonn in Germany. So Hans Riegel from Bonn, and he always took the first two letters, put them together, and it became Haribo. Hans Riegel Bonn. Haribo.
Have you ever heard of that before?
No.
Never
I was like,
seen
they
that
look
in my
like
life.
gummy bears.
Yeah, I've never seen that in my life before.
No, me either.
And last but not least, let's talk about a company that is not doing super well during these times, but it's one of the largest companies in Germany and second largest airline in Europe. And maybe you've flown with them before. In English, people usually say Lufthansa, but in German, we say Lufthansa. So the emphasis is on the first syllable, Lufthansa versus Lufthansa. And that was the last brand name on my list. So now, of course, I want to know from you guys which of these brand names you've always mispronounced and maybe which ones you didn't even realize were German brands. And also let me know in the comments below which German brand or maybe German celebrity name or something like that you've always wanted to know how to pronounce it correctly. And maybe I can do a follow-up video soon and let you guys know what the pronunciation is.
Okay, that was Feli from Germany. Make sure you support her page if you enjoyed this content. And sounds like she's got a lot of videos related to Germany. So maybe we should come back to her channel in the future. If there's any ones that you want to recommend, drop down below in the comment section. So Sam, closing thoughts on 15 German brands you pronounce wrong.
I'd say I do pronounce most of them wrong. And most of them I had never even heard the opposing pronunciation before, or I had no clue they were even German to begin with. So the car brands, I knew most of those were German. Yeah. Some of the clothing / lifestyle ones I knew were German, some I didn't. And then some of those products I'd never even heard of before. So
yeah, there was a couple of brands in there that I had no idea that they were German, and most of them the pronunciation was going to be off for sure.
Yeah.
And a few of them I had never heard of in my life before. So I did like that airline at the end. I'd never heard of them before. Have you heard of them?
No, I've never heard of that. The one that was like the candy and the appliance one. I may have seen that, but I never really like paid attention to what that was.
Yeah, and if you guys are not aware, we grew up in Canada, right? So there might be brands that are prevalent in the US that are unfamiliar to what's going on in Canada. But yeah, I feel like you would expect, I mean, Canada is known as being really multicultural, especially where we grew up. So I feel like you would have expected more German influence to be in Canada than in parts of the United States, but I don't know if that's true or not.
Well, like I had no idea that Trader Joe's was owned by a German brand.
Yeah, I'm not.
That's like a
really,
huge grocery store. Right?
Yeah, I'm not really familiar with Trader Joe's, but I do know, like you said, that it's a pretty big brand in the U.S. But anyways, I learned a lot in this video, and that's a theme on our channel. We like to learn, guys. So give us more insights down below. Let us know if there's any ones that she may have missed or that she should have added to the list. Let us know if there's other videos we should check out from Germany or German-related culture. Really have, seemed to be enlightened that there is a lot to it, whether it's the cultural significance of the way it looks, what's on the countryside. We got business development here. And I think there's stuff that we probably haven't even got into in terms of, how it evolved from like early decades. We're going back 1,000 years. I have no idea how that came to be. So
yeah, for sure.
Anything you want to add, Sam?
No, I enjoyed this. I like learning about this cultural language, kind of other parts of the world. It's almost like you're digitally traveling.
It was enlightening.
Yes.
All right. Have a great day, guys. We'll see you on our next video.
Thanks for watching.